I grew up playing soccer when I was 6 and when I was 7, but I always had a big passion playing hockey. I went one time with my dad to go sign up for indoor soccer at Century Gardens Recreational Center. And the booth next to the soccer sign-up was for a hockey school. And I went there and I started crying. I said, Dad, you have to put me in hockey. I can't play soccer. I don't want to play soccer.
And he insisted. He actually was tugging on my, shirt. He said, Dad, no, I want to play hockey. One thing led to another. I said, here's a check for $70. He says, no, it's not $70. It's 200 something. So that was a kind of shock to my system.
You know what, for my parents, it must have been the biggest shock for them.
So we eventually, gave him another check. So, and then he gives me a big sheet saying, this is the equipment he needs. Like this was like a foreign language to me. And what were they looking for?
My name is J.K. Gill, and I'm born and raised in Brampton, Ontario. I didn't know that I was the worst player on the team. I didn't know that I didn't know how to skate, but all I knew is that I'm out there having fun. And you know what, I kept playing, I kept learning, I kept having fun, and by the time Christmas came around, I was one of the best players on the team. I used to score, and I used to let everybody know that I scored, and I would have so much fun doing it.
The one thing that set really strong hold on me with JK was his passion for scoring goals. He had a passion that was second to none. It's not easy to score goals at any level, so when you have a guy that comes very naturally to score goals, it's certainly a treat to watch, especially for the celebrations that he did in the past.
Steve Mercer is one of the individuals who helped me become, the man I am today. Steve was my coach in minor hockey and started with me at 9 years old, and he went all the way up with me until I got drafted when I was 16. He taught me a lot of life lessons. He taught me how to persevere. He taught me, adversity is a part of life. And this is something that I'm talking about when I'm 10 years old. A 10-year-old doesn't know what adversity is, but he always taught us how to overcome adversity. He always said one thing, keep your highs low and your lows high.
In the Pee Wee year, for the All-Ontario Championship, JK was out of character as an individual. He was always a happy-go-lucky player, regardless of what was happening in the game. In this one particular instance, he was out of character and he was taking a number of penalties. So when he got to his third penalty, I had to set him down and actually ask him what was happening. What is bothering you that you're running around and taking stupid penalties?
During the game, somebody actually made a racial slur towards me, which really set me off. Every time I stepped on the ice, I would go and spear somebody or take a penalty, and I was all over the place.
You have a 12-year-old kid that is being racially slurred in a hockey game. At the end of the day, it's just a hockey game for kids to play, and there's no real place for it in sports, and it's tough. He's 12 years old at the time, and having to go through that, it hurts.
He taught me how to overcome. This is a thing about fighting adversity, and this is something that Steve preached to us, where I overcame adversity that day, got back on my horse, played the game how I should play the game, and we ended up winning the Ontario Championship. The one thing is that I had allyship. When you're not a part of the dominant culture and the dominant culture steps up for you, that's your family.
We saw J.K. Gill out there, and he's a guy that has to score some goals for this Sudbury team.
Getting drafted into the OHL was a massive, massive accomplishment. I got drafted in the 3rd round, and I actually ended up signing with that team that year. Going to training camp and seeing big names like Mark Stahl, Nick Foligno, Adam McQuaid. These are individuals that made a living for themselves playing in the National Hockey League, but playing side by side with these guys was remarkable. It was unbelievable.
We'll take a look at the starting lineups tonight. See Sudbury Wolves, Baker, Kurtz, and Stahl.
ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਸਾਈਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਇਹ ਰੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਮਾ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਇਦਾਂ ਪਰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ encourage ਕੀਤਾ ਪੁੱਤ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਬਣਨਾ you'll do good and he did good ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹੇ ਦਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਛੱਡਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਬਣਨਾ ਬਸ
I still remember where we went for a team meal and I called my mom because my mom, my dad, and my brother were together and I'm like, I'm not coming home now. And that was a big deal, but I remember going to the Tim Hortons with my mom, and she's like, you know what, you made us proud, so go and do it.
to Green's side, back in there to Baker. Baker moves in close, they swat away, score!
J.K. Gill, the man who put it in. He had a couple of goals last night.
When I first went into the league, I didn't really think of being the only South Asian or one of the first South Asians to even have the opportunity to play in the OHL. It was all a blur. But now reflecting and looking back on my time in the OHL and seeing how many people used to come and watch and cheer me on, being a role model for these kids is, you know, it goes a lot further than you think. Some of them now I play ball hockey with, and they're like, listen, I never even thought I'd even, you know, be on the same team as you. And it means so much to them, and to me, that's gratitude. And that feeling will never go away, because you know what? It actually feels like I did something for these kids and, you know, helped them with their love of hockey.